Hello there, Seraphim17 once again. This is a balls deep of a game called Project Warlock. Let's jump straight into it, shall we? So folks, Project Warlock is kind of a love letter to classic Doom and the games of that era, especially Hexen. You definitely get the Hexen feel as well, and some of the later Quakes. It is a very traditional, very old school first-person shooter in the grandest scheme of those games. I'm starting with two weapons. One of them is a dagger that I can charge and I can throw. The other one is an axe, which will help me do close-quartered good things. And as you can see, you move very quickly in this game. There is indeed a sprint button on top of the feature of moving already, and you move so fast you might even not notice there was a sprint, because I know I did that. Top left we have a map. It's going to help us out. And we're going to be finding colour-coordinated keys and killing dudes and just having a general dangerous good time. Being being fast and lethal, and trying our best, even though you're meant to have so many more weapons right now than I have at this moment to take this situation on. But we'll see how it works. Traditionally, you want to use the dagger that you can throw because it's a really cool weapon. These are the Yeti guys that like to run at you. The swing speed on this axe is a little limited. You've got to definitely give it some time to recoup. But I thought I'd just jump into a level to give you an idea of what the game is. I believe it was developed by one guy who has a penchant for those old games, and thus it's been reflected in this game. You can break a lot of the stuff that's around. You'll notice that the box itself is two-dimensional, and when you move with it, it moves with you. And you can never kind of see like behind it or get side on with it because it's dynamic. That's pretty much how all these games used to handle their graphics back in the day. And if you're quite young, you might not remember these times, but I remember them very fondly. And this is a really nice homage to those kind of games. It's fast, it feels good, it's fun, and it's the right amount of everything. I think these guys have flamethrowers which do an incredible amount of damage. I shouldn't really be messing with these people at this kind of range, so I'll chuck some knives. The knife is projectile, so you have to watch with the trajectory on it and actually aim. And be careful because you might not be doing the damage you want to be doing. But what I'll do is I'll load up maybe one of the earlier levels so we can actually get some guns and show off some of the fun stuff. I thought it would have given me my guns, but I don't actually know much about this game. You'll notice just then that I leveled up and it gave me a point to spend. There is a lab that you will go back to, like a laboratory, and in there you can choose the kind of class or build you want to go for with the abilities and the skills that you choose and the upgrades on the guns. And in classic video games fashion, they advertise them having like 70 guns. There's not 70 guns. There are just like 2 to 3 versions of each gun, and they count them all, much like Borderlands counts the different colours, which is completely bullshit. And I hate the fact they do that. But there is a lot of weapons in this game, and a lot of them are all the favourites and the classics that you would expect from a game such as this. Right here we have a man frozen in ice who fires a projectile. If you get close to him, you can smack him with your axe and break his little husk after he's dead. But if you listen to my mouse, guys, I'm going to swing my axe and I'm going to try and swing again to give you an idea of the delay here on how much you have to use the axe intelligently. So I'm going to swing. See that? That's how long it took for me to swing a second time. That's why you can't just go nuts hacking everything apart. And it's understandable why they did that, because it would make it a little bit too powerful. Because it's actually a really good weapon. But there's a lot of attention to detail and a lot of love in this game, which just kind of, it really rewards people who remember playing Doom, who remember playing Hexen, and remember playing those older games. And even if you were a Quake guy, or you were too young for Doom, and then you got into maybe the Quake or the Unreal days, you're still going to see something here that reminds you of even the Duke Nukem 3D. You know, a lot of that kind of homage to those days. The buttons are a bit weird. I should have remapped them. You press spacebar to interact with things, and I always press E, and E on this game changes weapon. So if you ever see me go up to a surface and change weapon, it's not some kind of strange tech. It's just I'm a moron and I forget. But you can see on the weapon wheel just there, you get like 2 weapons on each of the tiers to give you an idea of all the weapons you're going to get with all the slots that are available. There's some shotgun rounds. The shotgun's my favourite gun in the game so far. It's just really fun to use. I'm a big fan of the standard pistol, and I'm a big fan of the shotgun. There's just something about this era of games, storming around with a shotgun wrecking fools, which is exactly what I wanted to show off, but of course, it wouldn't be a balls deep if I didn't completely fuck it up, and something went horrendously wrong. Like, you should never fight this enemy with this weapon, it's just not a good idea at all. I would never recommend it. Because they take a lot of hits, but what's balanced about that creature is when you hit them, you stun them. So you can control both of those guys with the axe way better than I did with this, because this fires a little slow as well. But if you've got a pistol or even the shotgun, you can really go to town on them. You'll notice that they're firing pretty slow, deliberate projectiles, which make it nice and fair to dodge. I've had no problem with the difficulty in this game as far as being conventionally difficult, but one thing it must be said, if you play on the harder difficulties, they take away the checkpoints, and they take away the way the game functions, so if you're not a big fan of having to reset when you die and have to continue, then the hardest difficulty on this game is going to feel like a piece of feces being pushed down a tear duct. It's just not fun for anybody involved. But we'll see what's around this corner. This is obviously one of the snowy levels. We can get a key. There are secrets too. You want to walk around all the walls that you can, pressing the spacebar, or maybe a better button if you've got it equipped. And you can open up secrets and find all sorts of caches and things of that nature. Is this even me running? Isn't it like H to toggle sprint? Yeah, so this is the normal speed, guys. It's pretty quick, right? This is faster than Sebastian runs in The Evil Within. And this is the normal walk. And the moment you realise you can press H and toggle sprint, look at the difference. It's nuts. Getting used to this speed of the game, it makes it feel mad twitchy, but I recommend you do it because it'll give you a big advantage. And now we've got the key, we can go and find the area that was previously locked, and it'll get us to the next level. But hopefully it'll give you an idea of the oh, there we go. I found a door. Boom. Get some sexy secrets and maybe bump into some enemies. One of the things that I would have liked a little bit better in the game, if I had to be critical, is that as good as the map is at helping you navigate, I would have liked it if you were uncovering sections of the map, and it made it a bit easier to know where you've been and where you haven't been, but instead it just gives you the full thing, so it can be difficult sometimes to remember where you're supposed to be going. And of course, you probably are better at that shit than I am. I have a terrible memory, and I'm stupid, and I just get lost all the time. And I'm surprised I can manage to get my clothing on in the morning without feces all over me. But you know, there are days when there are good days and there are bad days. But it's just one of those little pet peeves I have of the game. And I don't know if that's an homage to another one of these kind of games, so it's just how they were. And if so, then 1000% it's all good and well. But I would like it a little bit different. You know, that's the cool thing about making a video that's your own. You can say shit like that, you know. This is what I would have done if I had developed it, and I wish it worked this way, but it doesn't, so I'm going to send a strongly worded email until he blocks me on Twitter. And there we go, smack a few people with a big axe. Very satisfying feel of the game as well, guys. It's got a punchy feel, it's got a fun feel, it's got a good soundtrack, it's got good visuals. It literally makes me think about when I first played Doom on the SNES, and I think everybody just vomited into their evening meal just then, didn't you, when you heard me say such sacrilegious things? But it's true. The first time I played Doom was on the Super Nintendo, and I thought it was awesome, but at the same time I found it scary. So as much as I liked it, I was kind of scared of it too, in like a weird, I'm playing this but it's scaring me, and I don't know if I want to kind of stop, but I kind of want to continue. To be young, I guess. Certainly don't get that anymore, unless I'm playing certain things. That's not what I wanted at all, but I'll take it. Another thing to be watchful of as well, dudes with the flamethrowers. I once was coming out of an area on one of the previous levels. To give you an idea of my playstyle, the only time I died on this game was against the first boss, who I thought was absolute dog shit and broken, and he really put me off the game. But other than that, I was doing perfectly fine, just being aggressive and having fun. I walked out of a doorway just like this, and there was a dude bang there in this corner looking this way. He set me on fire, and I died before I had chance to even acknowledge that he was an asshole and had set me on fire. So be really careful of the flamethrower guys. They're the most dangerous thing in the game so far that I've come across, because he just decimated me, and I couldn't even tell you how it happened. But you see how if you knock him, it stuns him with the axe? It's a really good way of dealing with that enemy. The axe is incredibly powerful, truth be told. There's another level up. That's why you can't spam it, you see. You've got to be intelligent with your axe. I don't think you can charge it either. That might be an upgrade. But I really like that they haven't put too much modern sensibilities in this and they've kept it exactly as it is. Because I think it just makes it all the more better. This is a part where I would throw dynamite, but I don't have dynamite, so this is a part where I would smack them all with the axe. And I'm clipping on something which is the only other minor criticism I have. Speaking of not dying, there you go. Boom. Died and I have no more lives. And then you can press restart, which lets you restart from that level, which is nice, because when I did it previously, it kicked me out. But let's go to... Oh, I can't go to the workshop? I don't understand this game. It's very bizarrely set out. But I cannot recommend it enough, folks. So what we'll do is we'll do single stage. We'll do the chambers, the very first level, what the game introduces you to Project Warlock with. This awesome guitar riff, this cool looking picture that's very reminiscent to the first Doom. You know when you first saw the image of the Doom guy stood on top of the mound of bodies in what you perceive to be hell, taking on hellish legions in a last bastion against the opponents. So this is the first level. You start outside a castle in like a garden area. You can mess with the trees, but you don't really get too much from them, apparently. There's a couple of vials on the ground of different coloured that correspond with your health and your magic. And I believe you see, if I'd have started a new game, I would have started with a spear, a lance that you can use as a torch. But because I'm picking single stage, apparently this is like fucking challenge run or something. So it's not even giving me that. But we'll continue on. Hopefully I'll be able to pick up some weapons. Here are the succubi enemy. And the dudes that fire the weird ball as a slow-moving projectile. That was interesting. I hit thin air with my dagger. Any secrets in... Oh my goodness. Ah! I want to hit the barrel if I can, but it's just not going to do it without me killing myself. Especially because it's projectile. Just easier to smack everybody. So that didn't go so well, but a nice little trap nonetheless. But another great feature, that's an arrow for the crossbow, which is cool. The one thing I like the most, I think, about this game, other than everything it's trying to be with its nice presentation and its obvious love and homage to those old games, is that the biggest area of modern sensibility seems to be in telegraphing of enemies. I've never felt like the enemies in this game are unfair or in any way were cheating. And this can be a big thing with a lot of shooters, especially the classic ones. They all have very distinct sounds, they all have very distinct tells, and a lot of it is designed in such a way that you can dodge it. There are only a few moments where enemy placement and tight corridors become a problem, but for the most of the game that I've played, which is I've played 2 entire levels, which is about maybe 10 to 20 levels as such, it always feels like you stand a good chance of being able to get through without being scraped, and I love the idea of that. Because I can't imagine playing Doom without taking damage, because there's always somebody that hit scans you with something, or something along those lines. Like, I know a lot of the enemies and a lot of the design is very graceful and done in such a way that it's immaculately fair and really well done, but I just always remember taking damage in Doom. Maybe I sucked at it as a kid, but like, I remember the iconic face always had a bust lip or a busted nose, because I'd had it pretty rough. And that's the one area of this game I think was a little bit, would have been changed. It's cool to have a bar. I think there's more precision in seeing in a bar, as much as you can go with numbers and things. But it would be really, really nice to see the Warlock's face in the bottom left with a bit more detail, rather than the way it is at the moment. And then essentially just seeing him get black eyes and busted lips and all kinds of scratches and scuffs and scrapes. I think they could have probably taken that quite a long way. But here's the doorway. The blue doorway that we use the blue key for. Couple of cells. As we strike a full down. You also notice the little scrubber zombie that gets close to you and tries to punch you. It makes a very distinct noise when it spawns out of the ground, which tells you that, oh, here we go, we got a pistol. And then the door opens, and there's a barrel to blow people up, jib people with a pistol. You took a pistol? What? What? The toughest dude on the planet? That's not fun. How dare he? But you can see as well, it's got the traditional sway with the gun, the left and right bob as you move, which is very synonymous of the era of the game that they're trying to homage. I'm so used to my pistol being really strong that I'm surprised they're taking a shot. Not to worry. You get the idea, right? I think. Here we go. Another cool thing about this having modern sensibilities is, of course, Doom was always on the same axis, wasn't it? The horizontal axis was fixed. I don't think you could really look up or down, so there was no real benefit to that. Whereas in this game, headshots matter, and they're powerful too. You get a nice bonus for doing them, which is a good incentive to, you know, get shit done. Is that a secret? This looks weird. Oh, this is my favourite enemy in the game right here. I think the introduction to them is kind of bullshit. Just pinning you in with an enemy that's very defensive, I don't particularly like. But to hurt him, you go close to him and bait him, and he lifts his shield up and you shoot him. And I think that that's pretty cool. Even though I'm doing a terrible job of really showcasing it. Might be better to use the axe. The collision on them is not the best either. Yeah, there you go. Oops. Ouch. I love the idea of an enemy that has a very glaring tell and a very glaring weakness, and if you use it correctly, you can get around them. And that's what that enemy personifies. That guy's just a filler enemy that they put in here to be something that you have to aim down to shoot it, so it can mix up your aiming a little bit. And then, of course, she's one of your first projectile people. And we can pick some stuff up. We've got the yellow key, which is going to lead us back here. And we can Clint Eastwood the shit out of those guys. And then use the advantages of fine aim to kill her. And then this is going to take us down. And hopefully we're not going to get surrounded by something. It's the only problem when you can't... Oh, we are. Put the thing on, dude. Ah! See what I mean? That's like the only situations where I feel like the geometry and the enemy combinations together, because it's so close and you can't run through the enemies without skill. Those are the only areas where the game feels kind of, I'm not going to say cheap, but doing that without getting scraped is, you have to know it's coming and you have to deal with it immediately. You know, it rewards the knowledge that that's going to happen, whereas reacting to that is going to take some real reactions. I do like this guy. Such a funny enemy. And then this is the level exit. So to get out of the level, you have to fight this creature that guards the doorway, and he's bodying me like a beast. There he goes. And then, boom, your level complete. You get to see your kills, your items, your secrets, how long it took, your score, and then you continue. And I think there's something like 5 stages in the game, and each stage has about 10 to 12 of the levels that are these bite-sized chunks of about 2 to 5 minutes or 7 minutes, depending on if you get lost or you don't know what you're doing. And it's just boom, 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 gameplay, 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 classic Doom and Hexen inspired id Software shootery, done by somebody who I don't even think was born when those games came out, but he really loves that kind of vision and that era, and he's paying homage to it with this fantastic video game. It's available right now, guys. You can get it on Good Old Games, which is awesome, no DRM, or you can pick it up in other places. I think it'll be going to consoles if you're a console gamer, so look forward to it, because there's really nothing like this other than other games aspiring to be like this, and this is definitely the best one that I've played. There's another one called Iron Maiden, which I haven't picked up yet, but I'm very looking forward to that, because much like this, it's people that like those games, or I think in that game's case, people who were there in the beginning coming back to use modern technology to make those old school classic kind of games. And I'm very excited to see how that works out. But thank you for watching, and you take care now.